I'm Stephanie Paterick, Editor-in-Chief, and I'm excited to hear the perspective of a very innovative founder CEO at the current studio today. George Popstefanov leads PMG, the worldwide independent digital advertising agency. Really, I should say you're a serial entrepreneur. Welcome, George. So good to have you here.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So first question out of the gate, our team talks a lot about big swings. It's like that big thing, not just the daily work, but the big project or goal that you're driving for. And I'm wondering what that is for you and your team right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to start right off the get-go with a cliche about AI, but we're working a lot with AI in our organization. I'm a technologist by background, as you and I talked about it, and a lot of our investments are really focusing on how we use technology through AI to be able to do some things. Actually, one of the projects we're working on right now is very specific to the media landscape, and it's about audiences. We believe as consumers, we've moved from like a very linear, full funnel journey to we're constantly bouncing across the funnel, interacting with mediums and properties and everything else. And then audiences are not stagnant as well, as our behaviors are not. And so one of our biggest projects right now is really trying to figure out how do we better and more agile define audience. And so we're using AI and in partnership with 2 or 3 of the big publishers to really understand how consumers are behaving and really develop audiences for humans as consumers versus just audiences in traditional sense of it. So it's probably one of the projects I'm the most excited about it. I'm seeing some tremendous innovation because it's really the seed that will also allow us to produce more engaging content, better engaging creative, more targeted media and so on. And so we have a lot of time and resources dedicated to it, and early things of what I'm seeing is absolutely phenomenal so far.
It's interesting. The Current ran a piece recently, an opinion piece that said the marketing funnel is dead, and I'm curious if you would agree or disagree with that.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah. We go in conversations constantly with current customers, prospective customers, and we gotta radically change our thinking. Because obviously with streaming, with being constantly on the phones, always on the go, we're constantly bouncing in different stages of considerations on purchase and everything else. And so the one thing that is true is we have to enhance the experience. We have to authentically engage with the consumers wherever they are. We cannot think in a box style anymore.
Let's talk about challenge/opportunity, sometimes one and the same. What do you think is the biggest challenge facing us in digital media right now?
There are a lot of change, and I think it's one of our values is embrace challenges as opportunities. And so I've always reframe. It's just inherited in me. When people talk about challenges, I'll talk about it as an opportunity. I think the biggest opportunity is there is so much change, because there's so much change in it. What we did yesterday is no longer relevant, which means you can be a relatively new player that comes to the industry and really make some tremendous impact into the space. And change is driven really by technology. I think proliferations of media. I mean, we've talked about TV is dead for a very long time, but I mean, what's happening with streaming TV and the biggest save for linear TV was sports and events and everything else. Well, now if you see with the new sports partnerships and everything else, most of them are going to Apple and Amazon and Disney and Google and so on. And so even the sports, which were the true live events, while you would lean into more of a traditional TV, now they're going into CTV.
You made a couple of your first acquisitions last year, one being Camelot.
Yep.
And so you raised the issue of CTV space. You've been steeped into that more deeply. I'm just curious, any insights or learnings that have come between bringing together sort of the ad tech world with that, those platforms?
Some of the innovation that's coming through the pipeline with the CTVs, especially like the Amazons, the YouTubes and others that Camelot's done and now also PMG is partnering with, are absolutely tremendous. And so I would say we're entering a world where a consumer can actually watch their favorite show and everything else, and the content that creative will be perfectly personalized based on, is it purchasing behaviors if you're on Amazon, is it creative behaviors or what you've seen? It's like no different what we're experiencing in the digital, it's entering in the video and streaming world. And I think that's tremendous, because I've always been an advocate that advertising should be additive to our industry and should enhance the consumer experience, a la educate, drive, inform, whatever it might be, and not disrupt.
Okay, final question. I'm curious to know your hot take.
I think everybody's trying to figure out how different things are going to work, especially with AI and the changes. Well, we should embrace innovations and technology. If we overuse it, we make it too buzzy. They'd almost like brands and people do that. And so I would say probably a little bit more discipline, from the advertising industry about how we're using the words and how we're using technology and how we communicate about technology and what it can do today, be more realistic, would probably be my most provocative thing I would say, because I think it's being used a lot in meetings, and again, it's up tremendous, but it's still early on. I think it kind of sets unfair expectations for different people across the board.
Words matter.
Words
Words
do
matter, I
matter
agree.
for sure, yeah.
George, thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to have you in the current studio.
Thank you so much for having us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.